everybody? You're now tuned into the True Definition of Sports Fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. Man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in once again. Shout out to all my audio listeners. Uh, my co-host, Mr. Reid. How are you feeling today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Wait a minute. You put where that hat come from?
Oh yeah, this is an old hat. See, still got a little dust on it. I got to clean it all the way off. I saw it in the back of the closet. I said, man, I haven't worn this in a minute because it's supposed to be jet black like my shirt, but you see, it's a little different tint. That's a little dust, so I got to clean it off. But still looks good.
Yeah, oh yeah. I see you got the gear. What is that, ninja right there? You got a ninja man?
Oh no. This is Mandalorian. So this is like the Star Wars Mandalorian, but they did a back to the future, and that's the DeLorean in the background. So call it Mandalorian. Yeah. Yeah, man.
It's all good in the barbershop, man.
It's all good, man. But we got to start out talking about these playoffs, man. We were just talking about it, and dude, we first and foremost, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has been taking shots. I mean, people on Twitter, they've been piling on him because the Celtics were 47-1 when they lead by 2-0. And their one loss, of course, 2018, LeBron James, is basically him and a bunch of dudes. And he played with all 48 minutes of that game 7, put up 235 points in that series and beat them in game 7. Kevin Durant has Kyrie Irving. Dude, Blake Griffin was giving them buckets the other night, man. He couldn't capitalize off of that. And if you're Kevin Durant, you can't take one shot in the fourth quarter. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the box score, man. I tell you what, that's very un-Kevin Durant-like to take only 11 shots. 3 points. And just I mean, you know what's going on in this series, man, is that coaching is got a lot to do with it. Coaching. Not playing, just not playing up the playoff level. I mean, the Celtics, physical, taking them out of their spots.
Yep.
And they just seem like they're hamstrung. You know, it's a 2-man team basically with the Nets, and they just can't figure it out. And I know we talked about this earlier. But I'm a little surprised that Steve Nash has not coached at a level that I think he has to coach in the playoffs, man. Yeah. You got to make adjustments. If you go flip on the tape and look at the Nets right now, they look like the same Nets back in January. You can't play that isolation. Set them out on the wing and watch him create. I'm talking about Kevin Durant. Just watch him shoot over or just getting space and he's got an open shot. I mean that's the amazing thing to me about the playoffs, because what you did in the regular season is normally not going to work in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You got, not to say that the guys scored 20, 30 points in the regular season is probably going to hit their average in the playoffs, but you got to reach into your tool bag in the playoffs and come up with some other. You just can't do you just can't basically just set up on the wing and feel like every time you come down that you're going to get an open shot. It's not going to work like that. And Boston, yeah. Let's be real. The Boston game plan is this: we're gonna make them uncomfortable. We're gonna make Durant uncomfortable. We're gonna be physical with him. We're gonna push him off his spots, and he's gonna have to work to get those shots. And it looked like to me, if I see a Kevin Durant that's taking on 11 shots in a game, I think this team is wore down. I think Kevin done wore down. I think all that physical play that the Celtics done, and he just can't get his open looks and his space to get those shots. And his coaching. I mean, you got to run this guy on screens. He's got to work to get his shots. It's not one-on-one where he's just gonna pull up and shoot over people. I mean, Celtics not gonna allow it. And you got to move him around. You got to move him around the perimeter on either side, and they got to set screens, and he got to come off the weak side. It just seems like Steve Nash doesn't. It's like no adjustments, no concept on generating offense. Um, I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of shocked.
I am too. I thought we would get a better coaching job out of Steve Nash, especially him being a former point guard, which is
Yeah,
essentially a coach on the floor as the quarterback of a basketball team. We expect those guys, and I think if you look at head coaches, I bet a majority of them who were former players were point guards. As far
yeah.
as head coaches, I would bet some money on that. But for Nash to not make the proper adjustments and not realizing what the Celtics are doing because okay, yeah, you don't have Ben Simmons. You're still trying to you are still kind of gelling at this point because you haven't had everybody with you for like the Celtics have had for majority of the season. And I heard Kyrie say that where they're gelling, and we're still trying to do whatever. Dude, you could have been gelling all year, but we know why he wasn't there. So, he did what he did, stood on his principles. But now they're paying the price for it because all it is allow Kevin Durant, even Kevin Durant, even Kyrie, just allow them to score. Don't let them be a facilitator.
And I'm gonna say this, man, because I don't watch that series. Drummond is lagging. I mean,
Yeah,
first of all, he's too heavy, and he's not running. I mean, I'm looking at his box go. He took 3 shots, and
yeah,
he got three. He played 16 minutes and got 3 rebounds. I mean, what is that? Three
yeah,
rebounds.
yeah,
I mean, I watched game 2, man. I'm telling you, he was jogging. I mean, it's like he wasn't even running down the floor to get back on defense. And it's like either he done checked out or he's out. I can't believe that he could be out of shape and he done played that amount of games. But
right.
I don't see no energy. I don't see no effort, man. And no way in the way of no way in the world a big should have 3 rebounds. And I know he only played 16 minutes, but it might be the reason why he only played 16 minutes because they're not getting nothing out of him.
Yeah,
You can't have a playoff team, man, with a big. I mean, this guy's 7 foot and 3 rebounds. Me and you can go out there and get 3 rebounds a bit
yeah.
between us. You
Who on
know,
the Celtics is out rebounding Andre Drummond? Drummond is supposed to be dominating the boards at least. And he's not a prolific scorer, so I don't expect him to give me 20 to 30 points. But I expect him, if he's playing double digit minutes, I'm expecting him to get double digit rebounds. I mean, dude, if you just hustling, rebounds fall in your lap if you're hustling,
yeah,
and
but
he's not hustling.
he's not hustling. He's getting out rebounded by like Horford. I mean, come on, man. You ain't supposed to
Come
get
on,
out
dog.
rebounded by Horford. Yeah.
Yeah, Horford outplaying him is
Yeah,
yeah.
out
Now
playing.
Horford. I don't think I've ever seen Horford loaf though. I
No,
don't think
no,
I've ever seen Horford
no,
loaf. So
no.
Horford, just off of hustle alone, Horford makes plays.
Yeah. And that's I like a I mean if a team loses, like if they're just not as good as the Celtics and they just, you lose 107 to 105 or something
Yeah,
like that, and you've done all you can. I look back on this series, man. I just think the Nets just haven't. I mean, they don't look like the team that played in the regular season.
no, not even close.
They're not physical. They're not. It's like to me, the Celtics like really just impressing their will on them, and they're not responding.
Yeah,
You can't have Tatum. I mean, I know he's a good player, but I never thought that Tatum would be the guy who can stop Durant. I heard the questions in the press conference. They were asking Durant about have you ever been in this situation before where you feel like you can't figure it out? I'm saying
yeah,
to myself, figure that out. I don't know if it's all his responsibility to figure it out, but I mean, you gotta change you gotta get him shots, but you can't have him just standing out there on the wing and expect him to get an open shot. If y'all not moving, they're not moving. The ball's sticking. The ball's not moving. They're
yeah,
not setting screens. They're not. You know, every time you look, Durant is on the right wing. I mean, does he move? I mean,
Right.
can you move him to the left, low block, or reverse it and just where
Hey,
you.
let's not even talk about defense, man. Oh my God. But hey, what up, Kassan Carter? Kassan, he said, talk about the Nets without talking about the Nets. You mentioned Al Horford. No need to hear more anymore. Oh man, exactly. We're talking about Al Horford. That's all you need to know about the Nets right now.
Man, these Nets. I feel like Drummond is already saying 1, 2, 3 Cabo because that's the way he playing, man.
Obviously, man, obviously. And and this is hilarious because this comes on the heels of Tracy McGrady calling Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving the greatest duo, as most talented duo in NBA history. That's what he called them. The greatest, I think the most talented duo in NBA history. And as soon as that happened, this started to happen. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. I say, how do you get the ultimate compliment, and then you start, and then you start to, after you get the compliment, you start to just wilt and fold under pressure. I mean, I couldn't believe that. When I saw that, I couldn't believe that. So, LeBron second in that, which is hilarious. And then people brought up Kyrie Irving saying that, man, this is the first time in my career I'm playing next to someone who could make the same shot as me. That's
Yeah,
not aging well.
nah, I don't know, man. I just think they need to make some changes. To be honest, I mean, I'm shocked that I'm looking at Blake Griffin. It took him until Game 3 to get his first minutes of the series. You got
And he balled out.
Aldridge, who hadn't played at all, and you're not getting. You need a physical presence in the post, which they're not getting from Drummond, and you might want to get a different look. And Dragic, maybe you want to play him more than 9 minutes, even though he only took one shot. At least he can shoot, and it give you something a little different on the perimeter other than Kyrie.
Yep.
And and give and you got to get Curry with more than 8 shots. I think you got to get him in the coming off screens and I mean they just not generating enough offensive punch other than
Yep.
everything sticking to Durant and Irving and he's not utilizing other players. I mean like Claxton, I immediately play Claxton ahead of Drummond. I just switch up the lineup and go on
Yep.
into Game 4 and just see because I think the problem is not talent. I think the problem is energy. I just don't think that the
I
Nets
and
playing with
I
energy.
was about that's what I was going to go into. I don't think the issue is necessarily X's and O's. I mean, Steve Nash is getting his lumps or whatever for right now, but I don't think it's all of that. I don't think it's all of any of what people are talking about.
Yeah.
What it's about is energy and effort. Because think about it, defense on the defensive end. That's want to. That's all that is.
That's all it
It's
is.
want to.
Yeah.
It's want to. Do you want to defend?
And when let's face it. The Celtics came into this series and said we can punch these guys in the mouth, and I don't think they can. I don't think they'll respond back. I mean, and that basically that's what it's been. I think we could be physical with Kevin Durant, and we can take him off his spots, and they don't have a B plan to figure it out. And that's all they've done. That the Celtics hadn't done anything different for these first 3 games at all
Yep.
from a defensive standpoint because all they're doing is like, don't give him a shot that's not contested, and don't contest him with one person. Don't just. It's not just Tatum. It's like, hey, if you in the area where Durant at, can help contest the shot. So he's got, the only thing he can see in his face is hands, and that's what he's seeing. And they
Yep.
can't figure it out. They can't. You got to move him around the floor, man. I mean, he's Kevin Durant. He don't have to be a one-on-one drive player or one-on-one where, if somebody's standing in front of him, you just pass the ball and watch him go. You got to move him around and move. If he don't have the shot, then Kevin got to, he's got to facilitate too. But they're not running any offense.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not running the offense. They're
No.
just giving it to Kyrie coming down, taking jump shot, or Durant getting the ball on the wing and letting him create and see
Yep.
what he can do. And that's it. And everybody else watching.
Yep. Yeah. So now, now the Middleton suffered that MCL injury. I don't know
Yep.
how long he's going to be out. Booker has the hammy. So, and man, we talked about this last week where I said no matter who comes out of the East or the West, they're going to be beat up
Yeah.
because that's just the way it's going this year. I think it was Brian pointed it out. He said, "Man, the playoffs have been perfect. It's just the injuries piling up. It's not quite like it was. What was that? That was last season? Yeah, last year the injuries were through the roof, and that was partly because they fast tracked the season. They started earlier than they probably should have. They didn't have any rest." And
Yeah.
now you seeing this. Now that the season is winding down, you getting these injuries.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see Jokic got him at least one. I mean, you got to be you the MVP. You're on demand. You up against a buzzsaw and the Warriors are great. Don't get me wrong. The Warriors, if they stay healthy, they look like they can get another chip this year because it's going to be open. Book down and that MCL to Middleton. Who knows what might happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good series. I don't think the Nets. I don't think the Nuggets have enough to win it.
Nah,
thought,
they done.
I thought they had a good win at home today. When you look at how they won and some of the things that they did to carry that win out, getting a lot of bench production. But I just think overall, I just don't think that they match up well with this
Yeah.
Warriors team, man. If it's you know, I was a little shocked that Curry's still coming off the bench, but
Yeah.
Lord have mercy, man. When you can get 33 points off the bench, even though in a losing effort, I don't know. I like this Warriors team, though. I mean, for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. I just think they weren't gonna come in and sweep, but I think I personally I think the series is done. I think I
Oh
think
yeah. It's
they're gonna close the turn out the lights on this series in that next game, man.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at it, Jordan Poole is nice. Steph Curry is all world, all NBA, all everything revolutionary. Klay Thompson, he's all world, all everything. But we already know the straw that stirs the drink is Draymond Green.
Yeah,
Draymond does things that don't show up on the stat sheet that helps the team win. And he's always been that. I think Kyle Kuzma tweeted and said the greatest role player of all time. And I was like, and I thought about it. I was like, man, it's been a lot of really great role players. I say you got to put Draymond in that conversation, though, at least.
yeah, yeah, man. 11 defensive rebounds today. Good
Yeah, and he joined
Lord.
LeBron, Bird, Duncan, maybe I think it's Kevin Durant, and it's like maybe two or three other Hall of Fame level NBA players, 200 steals and 10 triple doubles in the playoffs. He joined elite company the other night.
I will say this, man. I thought early in the year when Klay Thompson came back, I didn't see it. Didn't look like he had his legs. He didn't.
Yeah,
He didn't. It looked like he was pressing to get back and be that
yeah,
same splash brother guy. But man, I've seen him these last two playoff games. It looked like he's in that rhythm again. It like everything coming back easy. He had 32 to today, and just man, if they could get him back at the level that we previously know, when some of those championship teams that he was on, and that level of play that he had, if he can come back, I mean, you get 32 from him, 33 from Curry, man.
yeah. And a triple double from Draymond.
Yeah,
And
give
then
him a break.
Jordan Poole, hey, it looked like
Yeah,
any night he could go off. So I mean, dude, you're looking at a loaded team right now, and they're still without Wiseman, you
yeah.
know. So just imagine he comes back and he develops into something, man. Who knows? Let me get these comments. He say if the Nets get swept, Steve Nash will get fired as it's looking like he's on the bubble. Yeah, well, there's smoke, there's fire. I've been hearing that chatter for the last couple of days. Effort and coaching, not using players in the right time. Use your center-led bench. Yeah.
Well, that's what we just said. You got to use when you're in the playoffs, man. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't want to play these guys 42 minutes unless you have to. But man, you can't. I mean, Aldridge is a. I mean, I know he's old, but if you
Yeah.
want a physical presence in the at least in the post, he'll give you that. He may not give you 20 rebounds and 15 points, but you want size and you want a guy that can physically make his presence felt in the post, and you're not playing him at all.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
got a guy Drummond who like basically looks like to me the whole series like he done checked out, and you do nothing. You know, even though he only played 16 minutes. I just it don't take me 3 games to see who's got effort and who doesn't. I mean, put the guy in there and go with it. You know, it don't take.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He said, "What's that famous quote? Live and die by the jump shot. No post up play at all." And that's another one. That's another one. No post up play at all.
Yeah,
What's the other? The Raptors got him one. Pascal Siakam went off. I told you that's the only that's it. That's their only way that they can do anything in this series. Pascal has to be excellent. He was the other night, but it's 3-1. That series is pretty much over. Milwaukee won, and that's 3-1. So they're gonna pretty much beat the Bulls. But this Minnesota and Memphis series, it should go 7. It has to go 7. I mean, the NBA needs that to go 7 games.
yeah. I mean, to me, this is like a boxing match. It's just two young teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just they're going toe to toe in the ring. Both of them got some great offensive players. Um, and they going at it, man. It's nip and tuck, and it's
Yeah.
your strength against our strength, and it's physical. It's great offensive basketball, and hey, man, I think in a series like this, it's just who can play the best. Say in the final 7 minutes of the game is a team that's going to win this. I mean, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. See, what was the other one that was tied up? Oh, Mavericks Jazz. Man, that seemed like a coin flip right now. I can't really go either way on who's going to win that one. But you know, it's an issue when I was at lunch with some buddies yesterday, Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them, he's a NBA watcher, but he's not an avid watcher. So they ask me stuff, even though I don't avidly watch every team. I hear stuff and I read stuff and kind of have an understanding. He asked me, first thing he asked me when we talked about the Mavericks Jazz, man, what's going on with the Jazz? What's the issue with Gobert and Mitchell? I said, see, everybody see that it's an issue. Dude, when I saw that clip, they put together a clip of Gobert in the post with a smaller defender on him, calling for the ball, and Mitchell is playing YOLO ball. He's not dumping it down to him. Dude, the dude got a 6'5", 6'6", 6'8", 6'9" forward or guard on him, and he's 7'2", 7'1". And Mitchell's not giving him the ball. It reminded me of OBJ's dad putting together those clips to show Baker Mayfield not throwing OBJ the ball. Odell Beckham, for those who don't know. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just think it's a bad vibe. I don't know. I don't know if this coaching staff is the right staff for this team. I mean, I know that's a tough statement to say for a team that's in the playoffs, but it just seems like there's not a connection. It
Yeah.
seems like I mean, when you really look at Quinn Snyder, I mean, what do you look at? I mean, you look at a guy that look like, man, like he came out of the lab or something. I mean, he's like the most. I mean, he's like one of the most intense looking coaches I ever seen in my life. But
Yeah.
is that a connection? You know what I'm saying? Is that a connection to fix the problem? I mean, two players on this team, the starters, probably the two best players on the team, don't like each other.
Yeah,
And they ain't liked each other for the last 3 years. And when you got that type of friction going on with your chemistry, then just like you said, I done seen that many. I done seen that a couple of times in the playoffs here, where Mitchell don't. You got to get the ball into him quicker. You
yeah,
don't wait for the defense to get set, and then he's underneath the basket, and he's got to move to get a shot up. I mean, he's the tallest guy on the floor. You got to play in a harmony. You got to play in unison.
yeah,
And I mean, there's some games I just see like, man, this team here, man, they got the talent in the world, but they just don't. They play like, they almost play like, okay, I got to give them a pass, so I go and throw it to them, and they
yeah,
just you can't win. To me, I think the Jazz is a better overall talented team than the Mavericks, but it just seems
absolutely.
like the chemistry is not there. It just, I mean, it's like they're going through motion instead of going through rhythm. And I don't know if they can win. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if if the Jazz can pull it out with all that going on. I like to see Connolly get more shots.
Yeah, Conley, yeah. Shoot, dude, you got Bogdanovich, Gobert, Conley, Mitchell, and Clarkson. Come
Yeah,
on, man. The Mavericks got Luca.
yeah.
If we being honest.
Another thing I think about the Jazz, I think the Jazz, when they're on, is a great 3-point shooting team. But when there are games when they're off, they don't. They strictly stick to the 3-point shooting, and they don't attack the basket, and that's been a problem with them for a couple of seasons. That when they're on, they're on, but when they're off, that's all they do is continue to shoot. They try to shoot themselves out of a 3-point shooting slump, and then sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But
Yeah.
man, even I'm looking at their box score. Mitchell went 2 of 10 from 3-point range, even though he scored 23 points. But man, you can't be shooting 10 of 35, man. Expect
No,
to,
no,
you know.
no. You cannot be shooting 10 of 35.
And they pulled it out, squeaked by, but I don't know if the Jazz got. I think the Jazz got too much going on, man. And I definitely don't think that Quinn Snyder is a guy who can sort out the problems. And if he was the person who can sort it out, then
Mm-hmm.
Gobert and Mitchell problem would have been sorted out 2 seasons ago. Put it that
Yeah,
way.
no. They would have been. So but yeah. So gonna see how the rest of this playoffs play out right now. Miami is playing the Hawks right now. And seeing the Hawks got them one, and they're up right now currently. Let's see what's the score. I seen it was 44-40. The Heat are up, and then later on you got the Suns and the Pelicans, which that's interesting now without Booker, but I think they should be able to finish that out even without Devin Booker. But one of the things I want to talk about was these NBA protests. And for the people who don't know, you had multiple people doing like little protests where you had the young lady who glued her hand to the court and they had to get her hand off the court. She super glued it to the court. They had to stop play. The lady who chained herself to the goal, to the hoop. And then this lady right here, and you could see that security sitting next to her is watching her this entire time. And so he's watching her and watching her friend, and just watch her and watch what he does.
Yeah,
They say that's a form tackle. Jerry Jones need to be on that man's line right now. Look at that. Boom. Wrap up. Take it to the ground.
yeah.
Boom.
Something else in that video. You see the
Uh-huh.
guy with his legs crossed with the blue suit on. That's the
Yeah.
owner of the Timberwolves, and I guess that's his wife who she crossed. She
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's the owner and
Wow.
his wife right there. So I mean, that's
Wow. I did not know that. And Draymond Green made a great point on Twitter, either today or yesterday. He said that being banned isn't enough. He said they need to be prosecuted. He said because what is okay? I'll be banned from that arena, and I won't be able to go back. That's not a real punishment. He say, and it's all these little protests and people jumping out. But what happens when somebody has bad intentions and something bad happens to a official,
yeah,
player, coach, cheerleader, team personnel?
yeah,
What happens then? Was it the tennis player fan stormed the court and she got stabbed? I can't remember her name,
yeah.
but
Monica Seles.
right. So
Yeah.
they were like, "Are you waiting for a situation like that before you start to take this a little more seriously?"
I don't know, man, but you know what? Some arenas. I was in New Orleans for a game, and this kid could have. I think he was like 6 or 7 years old, and he came out there on the court, and they didn't. And security, and this is not police security. It was this arena security, and
Yeah.
they didn't see the little they didn't see the little kid, and he was shaking hands with the players while they was doing a free throw thing, and then like that on the after current of that, what happened, man? They fired like 3 security people that allowed
Wow.
this kid to come on the court. So, and I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out like, well, what is the protest about? What they don't like the officiating in the playoffs? So I mean, I don't. I'm lost on that. I mean, what are they?
And so I saw something about it, and one of the Minnesota fans mentioned that they're protesting an individual. Somebody, I don't know if this person is running for office or what it is. I'm gonna see if I can find it, but they're protesting I think it's a politician who they're protesting. But why are you doing this at a basketball game?
Yeah.
Like I'm not understanding. I really really don't get it.
So this is only in Minnesota. This is only in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's been happening in Minnesota a couple of times. I think every instance I've seen so far has been in Minnesota. And Anthony Edwards is so funny. He said, "Hey man, y'all do that in Memphis. Don't do that in Minnesota." So she said, I see somebody said, and this is just somebody on Twitter said the lady was a animal rights protester.
Okay.
I won't say her name, but she said she actually, I don't know how, got away with dressing as, yeah, I saw the pictures of her in her NBA ref outfit. She said the last 10 days with female animal protesters, type in Timberwolves and animal protesters and it'll pop up. So it's been animal protesters is what it's been.
Well, I want to add this, man. I think the NBA got to stop always thinking about the dollar. I mean, maybe they have to screen the people who sit in the courtside seats, man. I mean, if you really think about it, they took away all the media seats. You got fans, regular fans sitting in some of those press on some of the press row seats. You have literally fans sitting there because they say fans like the fact that they got a table type thing where they can put their food and drinks on. But maybe the solution to this is maybe they need to evaluate a little bit more instead of just taking well, fans should be good if he can afford or she can afford a $12,000 seat for a game or so, and just maybe they should
Mm-hmm.
evaluate who's sitting in these seats, or screen. I mean, I don't know if you can screen them, but I mean, maybe they have to do a little bit more due diligence and stop just always though, hey, looking at the
Yeah.
money and
Yeah.
see, look at backgrounds a little bit more. You don't want to. I mean, I know you can't judge a cover by the book, but maybe you don't want a protester sitting in the second row behind the bench.
Yeah. Have them in the nosebleeds.
Yeah, or somewhere where they
So
can be contained.
yeah,
Maybe
so
they
this is Twitter. This is Twitter. I don't know how true this is, but it says the owner of the team owns a chicken farm and mass murdered 5.3 million chickens by suffocation. And so that's one of the and I've seen that a couple of times. People talking about the supposed chicken farm that he has, and is I guess the treatment of the chickens at the chicken farm.
Yeah, that could be. Well, that's probably what a protest is about then.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They're animal protesters. Everybody who's been protesting, and it's because the owner owns a chicken farm. Like, what is that going to do? Well, I'm trying to figure out what's the logic behind this. What's going to happen when you protesting? Is he going to be like, is the okay? So you go to the game and you do your protest. You glue your hand to the court. You chain yourself to the hoop. You run out there. You try to pose as an NBA ref. You try to run on the court, interrupt the game. Chickens are still going to die. That's not going to change. He's not giving up his chicken farm. He's not going to stop chicken farming. And he's not going to stop whatever practices he's been doing. Yeah. How is this going to stop anything?
Yeah, now I say that they protesting because he killed chickens at his egg farm due to the bird flu outbreak. So what is he supposed to not do?
Yeah.
He killed chickens at an egg farm due to the bird flu outbreak.
Yeah. What is he supposed to do? I'm not understanding. And if this other part, has Peter said anything? Does Peter have their hat in the ring? Has Peter come out and said anything against them? I mean, if Peter hasn't said anything, obviously he's well within his right to do what he did, because Peter is quick to call people out. And I haven't heard anything.
But, I mean, it might not be his call. That might be CDC or somebody telling them that you can't use these eggs, you can't use these birds, and you got to dispose it. I mean, it's a health situation. It ain't like he just killing chickens. I mean, I don't get it, man. But, man, I think Minneapolis is one of the most beautiful cities in America, but Minneapolis got a lot of problems.
Yeah. The George Floyd situation highlighted that tremendously. Yeah. It goes well beyond what happened to him. They got some issues in Minneapolis.
And they said just so the thing, you don't want to go into all of that, but Minneapolis is a city that's so it's like not on the radar with a lot of people. And I think that might be one of the problems. It's not on it's not in New York, it's not Chicago, so it's not on your radar. So a lot of things go in, probably stay within, and then when things get out, they become magnified because of just how magnified it is. This young lady runs on the court. You got another protester. And I'm not seeing this on the whole wide range of the NBA playoffs where there's people protesting during the games, but up there, it's like, I don't know. But
yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. It's a shame that instead of us talking about actual basketball, we're talking about fans protesting and jumping on the court and stuff like that. And one of the things I have seen too is that players have been more reactive to whether it's fans heckling or them trying to get at them or whatever. They've been much more demonstrative towards fans, because you can tell that they might kind of at their wits end with fans thinking that, hey, you can come there, say and do whatever you want, and we not respond. We supposed to sit there and take it like we're exhibits at a zoo.
Well, that's similar to what happened last week with Kyrie, about the, he's shooting birds at the fans and say that
the stuff they were yelling at him.
Yeah.
Man, he's right. It's only so much you can take. I heard some of the stuff. I said, man, he better than me. I'll be talking to my people, mama.
Yeah, he actually said it, and they got through without it being bleeped out, huh?
Yeah.
what he was hearing from the stands. But you know what, man? Boston, I know Minneapolis has this problem, but Boston, boy, you liable to hear anything. Your mama and how you look and a whole lot of other things that you don't want to hear.
Yeah. Boston fans have a reputation.
And their security look the other way. It's like, man, we're not taking this fan out here enjoying themselves.
And it doesn't seem to matter what the venue is. Hey, the Celtics fans, Red Sox fans all have the same reputation as far as certain things they say to players of other races. Yeah, I don't hear too much about that at the Patriots games. Patriots fans don't really have that. They're more snooty than anything. They're not going to talk down on people because, they got 7 rings, so they're not going to talk that noise. But the Celtics fans and the Boston fans, dude, y'all got rings too, but y'all yelling racial slurs, especially at the Red Sox games.
Yeah.
I've heard some of that. That's insane.
Man, there was an incident yesterday in Yankee Stadium where fans out there in the outfield were pelting the who was that? Cleveland players with like beer and boxes.
I saw, yes, yeah, they were hitting the outfielders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did see it. So man, we gonna move on because we on the time of the day. So it's 8:24. All right, so we're going to go over this right here. Next topic, Mr. Mike Tyson is back in the news. We just talked about him, that was 3 shows ago, about him at the comedy show, and the guy pulled the gun out, and he talked to the guy, ended up hugging the guy. Well, this is another situation that Mr. Tyson finds himself in to no fault of his own. Once again, he is absolutely minding his business, being the absolute greatest one of the greatest pound for pound boxers that he is, minding his business. They say he was supposedly shrooming, so he's trying to relax. And here comes stupid. So listen, look at this.
This is George talking to Mike Tyson, bro. This shit crazy, bro. Mike Tyson. The dog done got lit, man. He over here rapping with Tyson. Mike Tyson trying to give us some shrooms. You don't know how to act. Tyson looking out, man. This shit crazy as fuck. Should have never gave you his money. Peasants. They're peasants. JetBlue, net flight. Boy just got beat up by Mike Tyson.
Oh, they ain't show it.
Trying to ask for all.
Oh no, you got to see it. It's not long, but you see the side of his head. Side of his head is all beat up. I'm about to get the one where he's tagging him. Yeah. Now, my only complaint about this situation is that more people need to go to a video recording class, especially with cell phones, camera phones. They need to go to classes where they can shoot videos properly, because I didn't get to see the intricate details of Mike Tyson lumping that man's head up, and I wanted to see that. Hey, and this is just you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I mean, Mike Tyson told another fighter that he would eat his posterior for lunch. I don't know why you would want to mess with this guy.
Oh, you want me to respond?
Okay, I found the other one. Hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, I want to see the punching, man.
Yeah. He put a few on him, and you could tell he held back. He held back because you saw the side of his head. He I know he was lumped up afterwards. So you could tell he got lumped up pretty good, and he's clearly under the influence. It's clear. Now let's see.
This is George talking to Mike Tyson, bro. This shit crazy, bro. Mike Tyson. The dog done got lit, man. He over here rapping with Tyson. Mike Tyson trying to give us some shrooms. You don't know how to act. Tyson looking out, man. This shit crazy. Should have never gave you his money. Peasants. They're peasants.
There it is.
Hey, Mike, come on. Let's go stop back. Let's lose the horse, man.
JetBlue, net flight.
Look at the side of his head.
Got beat up by Mike Tyson. Turn that way. Yeah, he got f***ed up. Just trying to ask for an autograph, man. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to ask for no autograph. And see, this is one of the issues I have with situations like that, is that people sat and watched this. You sat and watched this. Whether it was playing officials, the people around them, they all sat and watched this. But as soon as Mike retaliates, hey, Mike, hold on. Wait a minute. Where were you when this dude was bothering him?
Well, this I mean, this video shows everything you need to know about some of the things that a professional athlete have to go through, man. When you hear about the ballroom fights, and I know Charles Barkley was in a couple of those when he was back in the day, but this is the stuff go on. If you look at the video, obviously looking at the video, the man, Mike minding his business, and then you got somebody who looked like he done had too many to drink, and he want attention, and he's pestering. He wants a confrontation, man.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that a lot of people envy the life of professional athletes, but that's one of the things that you can't. If you're a professional athlete, man, you are wise to have your own security person or something, because this how stuff get escalated. So then it goes to a point where might get a charge, but like they'll take it to civil court, and this guy try to get money off this, and you clearly see that he provoked it, he started it, and Mike finished it, but who knows what might happen 2 weeks from now when it is like a little 20-something-year-old young man, and you
Oh no,
look.
he's in his he's a millennial, so he's in his late 30s, I think early 40s. Now they found his name and all of that. He's a career criminal. He has a rap sheet longer than Dallas Cowboy cheerleader weave. Like it's very, very long. Let's see.
That
Yeah,
happens.
because I gotta say, why does someone never have good camera filming, all movement, no clarity? That's my issue. Please, if you're gonna capture the moment, capture it. I want to see the air come out when Mike hit him across the head. I want to see that.
Well, I know NBC News had it. Boy, that's all the.
Yeah.
Leave Mike alone. That's
Mike
what
Tyson
fans should
alone.
do. Don't provoke the man. The man is a boxer, ex-boxer, former boxer, whatever you call it. But his hands still can hit. So, it ain't like you can't swing the bat if you whatever. I mean, how old is Mike right now? What?
53, 52? I know he's in his early 50s.
And that might need to get his own charter flight too, and get some peace.
Yeah, he's business class.
But this is that's a typical video of what some of the things that these guys deal with, though, man. It's like you got these fans who, basically challenge a player, challenge a boxer, and then when things get out of hand, usually the football player and the boxer end up winning, and then they got to go and deal with a civil suit. So I'm not shocked, man. I think that goes on a lot, probably too much.
Yes, yeah, I think so too.
Called provocation.
Yeah. Dude, he provoked the man. The man he's sitting, he's chilling, and then afterwards they asked him, did he want to press charges? Of course, he said no because he was in the wrong. And then there's a photo that he took with the fan right after the altercation. So it's not about him and the fans and having issues with them, because you had one dude who approached him correctly, one dude who didn't, and you see the results that both got. So it is what it is. But we're gonna move right along, speed it up a little bit, and before we get into this Jaguars talk, we got to talk about Mr. Malik Willis. There was some interesting comments made about him by Pete Prisco, and we're going to review those. We'll talk about him a little bit. So let's listen here.
He's not a quarterback. What he did at Liberty is not close to playing quarterback in the NFL. He looks like a running back. He tucks the ball, one read and run. At least Josh Allen stood in there and made throws. I don't like this pick. I don't like the player. I think he's a second or third round pick in my book.
So that short clip right there, that's went viral. Malik Willis saw it and he's like, okay, bet, cool. They always doubt me, but people, we just saw this in 2018. We just saw this in 2018. Lamar Jackson, this is bar none what happened to Lamar Jackson, but it was much worse because it wasn't just a Pete Prisco. It was many people called him a running back or wide receiver. You know, he still has had to deal with it throughout his playing career. Shoot, I remember when I think it was a San Francisco 49ers beat writer said that he's so good at the read option because the ball is the same color as his skin, so he camouflaged the ball with his skin. And so the very next game, Lamar wore white sleeves just to show him, like, dude, I do this. This is what I do. But once again, people talking about the racial undertones behind it. And you can't, and I don't like to always bring up race and stuff, but when it's staring squarely in your face, it's hard to ignore it.
It is, man. And he ain't the only one. I mean,
No, he's not the only one.
I've listened to some radio in this city, and it wasn't Pete Prisco either. And it's like, it bothers me, man. I mean, I ain't gonna sit here and lie. It bothers me because I'm gonna be a truth teller. A lot of these guys, I mean, I respect Pete Prisco. He's first Jaguar beat writer from the Florida Times-Picayune and all that. But a lot of times these guys, you respect them because of their title. You respect them because they work for these CBS Sports and they national and all that stuff go across the country. But what people on this show got to understand that a lot of these guys, including Pete Prisco, don't go and scout these guys personally. Okay?
Right.
I didn't see Pete Prisco at the Senior Bowl when this kid was throwing passes 40 yards, 50 yards down the field, and Mike Tomlin was standing 5 inches from him, drooling, basically, you know. I didn't see Pete Prisco at Liberty's Pro Day when he threw like a 75-yard pass in the money on a touchdown pass.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, as a black sports writer, you know, it's becoming just perplexed. It's almost perplexing, to be honest, because I know what you're seeing, I know what they're seeing, and I know that a lot of times media can just continue to say the same thing, and enough people hear it from these franchises to influence. Okay.
Yeah.
If this guy ain't you can't tell me somebody projected sick. I mean, I saw something from ESPN. I don't know if it was Todd McShay or a Kyber, where I saw where he could go to Carolina, and then I saw something that just came out like a couple of days ago that he's completely out of the first round. Now come on, man. There's not that much variation. There's not much that he could have done to go from a top 10 pick to completely out of the first round.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, I think we in 222, and I think there's still some mentality of 1962 in some of the things that go on, not just sports, but in a lot of things, you know. The kid can throw. Now is he a good runner? Yeah.
He's a great runner.
Is there dude quarterbacks in the league? Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
And it's this old school of thinking when you have a guy like Pete Prisco saying that it's absolutely absurd for him to say that he's not a quarterback.
Yes.
I mean,
say he's not a first rounder, but don't say he's not a quarterback.
He's not a quarterback. You're gonna blame the fact that he went to Liberty. Okay, that's almost like saying, okay, well, Steph Curry ain't a potential future Hall of Famer because he went to Davidson. You know, you can't project. You know, let's get this straight right now. If you're good, you're good. Okay.
Yes.
If the NFL scouts are not looking at anything at this point with the draft on Thursday, At this point right now, they're not even. Do you think they care a flip about he went to Liberty? They're not.
No, no, not even close. No, and like you said, for him to go from top 10-ish pick
Yeah.
to now completely out of the first round, this is where my conspiracy theorist, that conspiracy theorist that lies dormant within me, it wakes up a little bit because how do we? What part of this? Some of this, I believe that teams do this purposefully. Teams do this. They have certain people who they know in the media to spread certain narratives about certain players. Little handshake deals. Because Mel Kiper was shown that I seen a little thing with Mel Kiper when they did the investigation with I think it was Arizona with DeAndre Ayton, and they had tapped the phones or whatever. Found out he got $100,000 to go to Arizona. DeAndre Ayton did. Of course, he got $100,000. Why would he go to Arizona? He should have went to Duke or North Carolina, something like that. For him to go there, of course, he's been brought to go there. But they had a thing where it said he had agent had a prominent defensive end who was getting ready to go into the draft. And he called Mel Kiper on speaker and he said, "Hey, I'm sitting here." Before Mel Kiper, he told Mel Kiper who he was with. He said, "Hey, I'm sitting here with the best defensive end in the draft." He said, "Oh, you must be talking about," and he said the player's name. And that player ended up signing with that agent because of that interaction. So I know teams put this stuff out here to have guys fall. They do it. I know they do it.
And just another general problem, man. It's too many sports writers that's more opinionated than writing and reporting. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Pete Prisco wrote a story on Malik and just talked to 32 general managers and wrote a story about what they thought of Willis, I mean, what they thought of the quarterback, you're probably going to get 26 to 27 of them that's going to say this kid got a tremendous arm, good talent. We gonna need to work with him,
Yeah,
but
he's a project. He's a
yeah,
project.
he's a developing player. But you're not gonna get anybody who's experienced at the NFL level on the record to say that this kid is not a quarterback.
Right.
And I want to challenge. I'm not gonna challenge, but I'm saying I don't like the fact that I hear a veteran sports writer basically just, I don't hear the same thing if he was evaluating a white quarterback in the same situation at a smaller school.
Yeah.
Not going to sit here and tell me that quarterbacks in the NFL don't go to small schools. Okay? Not going to tell me that. Where Carson Wentz went.
Yep. North
Okay?
Dakota State.
What competition did he play?
Yeah. Josh Allen.
Yeah. So the issue here is when it get to a point where you're getting too many in the top 10, top 15, then it's almost time to start, well, this shouldn't be happening. And then you get this disparaging comments, and everything is a crapshoot, man. I mean, this kid has not played not one down of NFL football, and there's no way. And I've been a sports writer for 32 years, so I know what the hell I'm talking about. And hey, Pete Prisco is no more affluent on knowing how to scout players than anybody else, or me, you, or anybody on the street. He's not privileged to the film that you're going to get from a GM in the NFL. He didn't go to the Senior Bowl where the kid was out there throwing and practicing and throwing in the rain. And now it's just opinion bashing, and that's what I call it, without facts. That it sounds good, but you got no substantiated facts to back what you're saying. And I think this is where, unfortunately, in the profession that I'm in, I think that's where it's going to, where if you can get out and say some of the most harshest, critical, opinionated things on radio, podcasts, then it gets attention.
Yeah.
but the reporting is gone. I mean, it's almost like this business is no longer about reporting. Like reporting would have been okay if he did a story and he interviewed 27 of the 24 GMs that he made a phone call to, and you got a professional evaluator, which is a scout, GM, or somebody from an NFL franchise, and they're saying this, then that would be something that you would report. But
Yeah.
if you're not, if you, there's no way he can get on the phone and get a consensus of GMs saying that this kid shouldn't be a quarterback.
Right.
That's his personal opinion, and it's wrong.
Yes.
It's definitely wrong, and that's the way this business is going on. Because if you get enough, you get enough big names, and they all saying the same thing. Eventually, you're gonna convince somebody. That's basically what it is. You know,
Yeah.
you look at the Scheffner, you talk about Scheffner. I mean, well, if you're a reporter that's going to send your copy to a GM to get approval, then what
Yep.
that says,
Yeah.
as what you just said, it substantiates what you just said. It's like a GM ain't going to say something, but if you got somebody in house or somebody outside the house, and they can take your message without referring it back to you, then it's the same thing. It's like, hey, if you want to disparage the kid so he don't get drafted by Carolina, and maybe you sitting at 9, I don't know. I mean, that stuff goes on.
Yeah.
But
It
just
does.
but just to get on and rant about the kid is not a quarterback and this and that, he's a running. I mean, come on, man. That's just the stuff that's been going on for too long. It should need to be stopped.
Yeah.
It need to stop bashing and because the bottom line is this: we got a problem in this country with race. Okay, I mean
Yeah.
we can hide it. We can not talk about it. There's a reason why that lawsuit is out by Brian Flores. Okay.
Yeah. And it's so stupid, man. It shouldn't be. That's one part I've never understood. Like stereotypes and judging
Yeah.
people off the color of their skin and not the content of their character. I mean, I learned that as a young person. You judge people on a case by case basis. I'm not going to lump you in the pot because your skin tone matches this group of people and they're known for this stereotype. No, no, just like, hey, they say, well, black men from the South are lazy. Well, I'm from the South. You don't know me. You treat it as a case by case basis. But no, what they do is lazily lump everybody into a pot. That's what
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
They want to give labels to everybody so you can properly, they want to be able to identify. So, oh, yeah, you here, you go there, you go there. No, man. No. And what that leads to you giving preferential treatment over different groups because you believe this group is this way and this group is that way. But you can't judge the whole off of a few of a group, man. It's crazy.
And then even if the kid was a third round pick as a quarterback, you don't go publicly and say he's not that. You can't base anything. What fact are you basing it on? He hadn't taken an NFL snap yet. So how would you know if he's not capable of being an NFL quarterback?
Right.
And this is the whole problem, man. It's just this the same rhetoric that's been going on in the 70s and the 60s, and it's still here. It's the same thing. It's just like if you chirp loud enough and continue to chirp, it's going to continue to be the same old chirping, and there's not enough accountability. There's not enough people who can bash the person who's chirping, and it's too much based on, well, he's a reputable sports writer. He's been in the business for this amount of years and he can say anything, which is absolutely wrong. You know,
Yeah.
you got to
Oh, yeah.
judge your opinions on facts, and facts is we're not. Now we can go on YouTube, but we're not getting the same access as a general manager and a scout for any of these teams in the league as a sports writer to make assumptions that he can't play, he can't make this call, he can't throw that pad. He's not qualified to even say that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. I feel that, but we're gonna leave that right there because we can go. That could be a whole show. We can
It can
do a
because it's a
whole show on
problem.
that.
It's just it's too much bashing and not enough facts. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Show me the
we
facts, the
sat
data,
there at
statistics.
the Senior Bowl, and these people would look like, man, this kid was throwing the ball all across the field. So why would he not look like a quarterback? And he's going up against basically the same people that's in this draft.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I personally, I hope Malik falls. I do hope he falls in the draft. It's going to affect his pockets, but I think that what he's going to lose in money as far as his pick, he's going to gain in better organization. The later he goes, the better organization he's going to go to. I hope he goes somewhere where they take their time with him. If he goes in the top 10, he's probably going to a situation where he's going to might have to play right away, maybe, or a perennial losing franchise that chews players up and spit them out. So I
well,
hope that he falls lower.
well, Brandon, I hope he falls to 20 and go to Pittsburgh. Okay.
Oh, that would be perfect for him.
I hope he can
Perfect.
fall that low and go to Pittsburgh and get the grooming and get the tutelage, get all the things that's needed. Don't have
Perfect.
to get thrust out there and go to a franchise who can really develop him. You know,
Yeah.
not throw him out there in the wolves, or not just trying to keep a tradition of well, he shouldn't have been a quarterback in the first place narrative, and just get him to a place where he can be successful. If he's at 20, I assure you Pittsburgh will select him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Then they can get off the Baker Mayfield train because that is not a good train for them to be on. I don't think that's a good train for them to be on. You got Mason Rudolph. I don't think you need any more of that over there. But man, we're gonna leave that right there. And yeah, we got it's 8:50. So I want to talk a little more on this, but we're gonna go through it and then we're gonna wrap it up. But we're gonna talk about, and these are rumors or whatever, and just like conspiracy theorists and stuff I've heard on Twitter, and we talked about it previously, but the Jaguars supposedly relocating, where you've had the rumors of Shad Khan bought the team with the intention to move him in 10 years to London, and the NFL basically coming in and telling him no, that he can't do that, or that's not in the cards no more. And then him maybe wanting to sell the team, or them trying to get an ownership group to come buy the team or whatever. But even from all of that, what I heard, what that lets me know is, I always say, where there's smoke, there's fire. So it's something to it. And like you brought up, the lease runs out in 2030, and it's time to either renovate or get a new stadium.
Yeah, well, that's the issue right there. Believe me, I've been in a city where the pressure comes on strong when you in the final, say, within 5 years of that lease expiring, and
Mm-hmm.
the pressure don't just come from the organization; it comes from the league. And like I told you the other day about this topic, man. I mean, it's unacceptable. I mean, I was there at an event at the stadium this last week. It's unacceptable for an NFL stadium. I don't care if it's in Jacksonville, Tampa, whoever. But if you look at the seats in the stadium right now, they're weather worn. They sun beaten, you know. And the thing is
They're
that
supposed to be teal, they sky blue.
they done turn colors.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville have to understand, man. And the problem with Jacksonville is it's a government controlled city. You know, when I say that is that nothing going to get through here without a vote from city council. This to taking it to this meeting to the mayor got to sign off on you. It's too many people got to sign off on things, and it's no way. And I'll be honest with you, for an NFL franchise, anything within 10 years of a lease is when you
Mm-hmm.
start taking action. You don't get anything within that 10-year window of that lease expiring without, getting talking about it,
Yeah.
financing, getting some things in order, So we have already in a not a great situation right now because we 8 years with that lease being expired. And when you have that, it it adds the pressure. because once it get 5 years, the league gonna start. Man, I done seen this league come out and say, if you don't get this stadium improved, we're gonna explore other cities. I've heard them say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't wait 8 years to start putting pressure on cities that if this is not done, then there's a possibility that this team can move. And you're going to hear more of that because it's the action time is now. There's no I mean, let's be honest. I mean, there's no denying that the stadium has to be renovated. There's no
denying it.
no, it's not. It's not going to serve. And the Jaguars done said this on record. This is not going to serve our needs.
Yeah.
And action has to be done. And then you get. I mean, and it's not just NFL. It's the same thing happened in Seattle with the Supersonics. If you go around the lay of the land, it doesn't matter what the sport is. Every professional team, when it gets time that the stadium is basically outdated, then the pressure continues to mount until something is done. And if nothing is not done, they're working behind the scenes. I mean, it's 8 years on that lease. If nothing don't get talked about or done within the next 3 years, they're going to be backdoor meetings with the NFL, the Jaguars, and other cities, and they're talking to those cities about, can you put a package together? Can you get a stadium finance package together through your state legislature, through your government? They're going to be behind the scenes, and they're not going to wait on. Jacksonville is not going to be where they got control of the situation, because they could tell Shad that, hey, if you're not going to stay in Jacksonville with this stadium, they'll tell him, and their input is stronger than cons. So they got to do something now. They got to start talking. They got to get a financial package together, and they got to start getting things together to make everybody assured that they're serious about getting this team remaining here. It's not going to be, it's some people think, okay, well, they're building them a practice facility. What else they want?
Yeah, right. And so
it don't work like that.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you watching, Paul. He said, well, if the Jags leave, Jacksonville has a winning hockey team. Hey, at least we have our hang our hat on that. But the reason that this is such a big deal is because once a stadium becomes outdated, it becomes dangerous. I mean, think about all you have to do. Just look at a few years ago. Look at the Rams and the Chargers and look at the situations they left. Qualcomm Stadium was a death trap. That's what it was. A beat reporter fell from the press box because it collapsed and died. That's how bad of shape that stadium was in. San Diego didn't want to spend the money. LA say, come on, we'll welcome you open arms. The Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis was trash. Reggie Bush sued them. It ended his career because they had issues. They had like the sideline where he slipped and fell, and it pretty much ended his career. He had to sue him because of how tore up it was. The Edward Jones Dome was crap. Minnesota, the roof caved in. If you've never seen a video of the snow on the top of the Metrodome and it caved in, it's a video. The snow comes crashing down, the speakers on the ceiling tear up the seats and all of that. It becomes a hazard, so it has to be done. That's why the NFL is so staunch on it.
And like you go right down the road in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was talking to other cities before they came up that Raymond James in the stadium. They said, if you can't build us a stadium, we're gonna move. We're gonna move this team, and they were serious about it. And I'll say this. I mean, there could be a situation that the Jaguars. I know people. I mean, been on radio show. They say, how long they gonna be here? Before they go to London. To be honest, the Jaguars are actually doing Jacksonville a favor because the Jaguars could also say, we're not going to extend this lease unless you build us a new stadium. They're not saying that. They want a refurbished stadium. The
Yeah.
the lower bowl and all that structure in that lower bowl is fine. But they
Yeah.
won't, you're gonna have to put a roof over the stadium, obviously. And you're gonna have to have wider aisles inside. All that stuff got to go in there. If you go to other stadiums around the league, I mean, it's almost night and day, to be honest, about how the structure of the stadium and
Yep.
it's totally different. Particularly if you go to some of those new stadiums. You go to this stadium out there in LA. I know.
So far, I just I gotta go. I gotta go see it in person, just from the video, man. But look, Paul, this is true Jacksonville right here. He brought up the Lizard Kings, so he know Jacksonville. He say, on the side note, that is why the Lizard Kings left, was because the arena was torn down. So yeah, teams leave when renovations have to happen. Yeah, yeah. It happens all the time, man, because the place becomes a hazard. You have to change it. You have to stay up to date. These leagues want to be first class. The NBA wants to be first class. NFL wants to be first class. MLB, first class. NHL, they want to be first class organizations. And I can't be a first class organization if I got my teams playing in death traps.
And you know what, Brandon? Personally, I would love to see this city get a new stadium in a new location. Not where it's at right now. Something so you could have a scene of downtown from the stadium. I don't know where that's at,
Mm-hmm.
but just something in a different area of this town that would be great.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
It
told you about my design. I'm not gonna say that design here because I want them stealing my idea. But we talked about my design and how it will have something to do with the river and
yeah,
how I would have it formed. But yeah, you could. It's a lot of options that you can have. And this is one of the things with fans. Paul said also, can taxpayers stomach putting more money into the stadium? So from what I'm hearing already with the renovations is they're talking about the bed tax, and that's taxing people coming from out of town using the hotels.
well, yeah. I mean, you can do that, the rental cars and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I know people don't want to get taxed, but hey, man, now I think you would have to really seriously consider that if you just say, okay, we're gonna not play in the TIAA bank field and we're gonna build a new stadium and it's gonna take this X amount. My concern here in Jacksonville is this, and it's sort of like the whole Lot J situation, where you
Mm-hmm.
got to have it goes through one committee or whatever, and then it got to go through another committee where it's got to be a majority vote of something. I mean, you
Yeah,
can't get pigeonholed into all of this political stuff that not serving your community. You cannot. I don't care who's the mayor of this city. Whoever is the mayor cannot lose this franchise on their watch. Okay,
yeah,
because
yeah,
if you look at the investments that's in there, you building it's public money going into that practice facility. If that team jumps out of here and leave, then what is that going to do? You got a facility there with nothing there. So everybody in this town has an interest
vested interest.
a vested interest in this city
Yeah,
because exposure. This is a whole lot of thing that
yeah,
factors in the having a professional team. And maybe people, me, you, everybody, we might have to have a price to pay. I don't know,
yeah,
but if it takes moving the team or staying, and you put it to vote, I think the voter went out if it's reasonable that people would whatever it takes. Property tax go up a percentage or we pay more tax on something.
yeah,
But I'm just saying that knowing from experience, you cannot wait in the year 5 and you got 3 years left on on that lease to start talking about stadium renovation with 3 years left. The
yeah,
renovation, to be honest, should have started, before it got to the 10-year mark of expiration of the lease. So,
yeah. Yeah, he said, and this didn't make sense to me either. He said even the monorail does not reach the stadium, which does not make sense. Yeah, the
it
monorail goes
doesn't
through.
make sense.
it should have a drop off in that area. I've never understood why that goes through there and there's no drop off station right there by the stadium. That'd
Well,
be perfect for game days.
well, let's just say this. I say 97% of the stadiums in NFL stadiums in the cities that they're in, they have entertainment districts near the stadium. It's almost to the point.
Yep.
Why would you not have something from JSO building all the way to the stadium where you have a bunch of sports bars all the way up and down Bay Street?
You suggested that, a bar crawl.
I mean, that's what, if you go to other places, they got that. So why would that not be a reason here? I mean, if they're not playing during the fall, if they're not playing outside like right now, it's end of April. If you got an entertainment district, it'll still draw people there. You know, you have a jazz band that you advertise or something. You got the jumbo shrimp. You'll bring in more people to those games. But we don't live in a society no more where people go to the game and then go home. That's 1970. They don't do that anymore. They go to the game. That's part of the Saturday fun. And then they go to the bar or watch some more games and just hang out,
Yeah.
It's
an all-day event.
Yeah, you can put a Miller's Ale House and all that. But that's where this city going to have to go, man, where you have to get yourself in line with what the other major cities are doing in this country, and it's working. If it's working in Minneapolis or other places in this country, it'll work in Jacksonville. But the politicians got to stop trying to make things difficult, and you got to get them. Who cares about it? If it's more people voted for than against, then it should be approved. Okay. But this majority voting and all that crap is holding back the city. You don't want anything to hold back your city. You want progress, and you want people from the outside of Jacksonville to come to your city and have a reason to come and have a good time, And that's what Jacksonville needs. It needs to be a place in Florida where everybody just don't drive through Jacksonville to go to Miami. Give them a reason to come here, spend money, and have a football team where you don't have to worry about it leaving because you got everything in place. It can't be no perfect than that.
Right. I mean, you can't have this stigma of being a backwater town. Innovation brings opportunity. Opportunity brings money. And that money is going to bring people. People coming in is the commodity. People are the commodity. It's not places. It's not the stadium. It's not these businesses. They're not the commodity. It's people. You want people to come here every day, working Joes, spending their checks. That's what you want. And like they always complain now that there's nothing to do in Jacksonville. Well, the Jaguars leave, it's really going to be nothing to do here.
Yeah, we don't want that. I've lived through the years that they didn't have Jacksonville. I mean, they didn't have football and none of that. They had Florida, Georgia. But the thing is, Brandon, you got to take advantage of what you got. You got a beautiful river that runs the length of downtown. I got a house in Tampa. Put a river walk. Put things downtown to coincide with the river and your stadium to get people to come downtown after 5 o'clock. And it don't just have to be Monday through Friday. You gotta make things. The city can be a lot better than what it is, and I think politics is one of the reasons that's holding it back.
Yeah.
Charlotte. If you go to Charlotte, I stayed in Charlotte with my brother in 1985. Charlotte was probably worse than Jacksonville. They didn't have anything. They didn't have no professional sports team. Their downtown it didn't shut down at 5 o'clock. It shut down at 3 o'clock. There was nothing to do there. Everybody caught the buzz you out in that. But Charlotte had a vision, man. They got the NBA team. They got the pro football team. But if you go downtown Charlotte, where the basketball team play, it's a whole district. It's a district area around there where they got movies, shops, and malls and everything. It's and it's called Uptown in that area over there, and it ain't been there 30 years. It's been there for the last 15, but they had a vision, and that's what you have to have, man. You got to have a vision. You got to put people downtown. You got to put like apartments. You got to have foot traffic that's already downtown, and then you put amenities down there that make attractions and that get people there, and then you keep your teams that you have. And this Jacksonville got to do things. You got to be like the other cities.
Yeah, the point blank period, man. And then you have to capitalize off of the migration of people coming from the north to the south. Yeah. More and more people come here to Florida every day. They're leaving up north and they're coming down here. Cost of living is cheaper. The no state income tax. Dude, you have a golden opportunity as the population grows, and you want to grow with the population. It's real. It's that simple, man.
It's that simple, but I'll say this. I haven't heard anything. Somebody asked me this the other day, man. Did you hear that the Jaguars are leaving? Or you think they're leaving for London? I say no, they're not leaving. But I feel this: they're gonna have to do something to that stadium, because if that stadium don't get renovated, they will leave. I'm telling you, they will leave. They will not sign another lease agreement in Jacksonville if that stadium is not renovated. Yeah, and that's I'll book that. And actually, they have already said it.
Yeah. See, Kassan Carter said, "Yep, Queen City is thriving now. Hornets, Panthers, and minor league baseball, and just got a pro soccer club inaugural year. Bam, there it is.
Same thing the Queen City can have, the same thing here." And another thing, Brandon, I think that Jacksonville ought to go and try to pursue one of those soccer teams, man. They got one in Orlando that's thriving. Compact stadium. You don't have to pay the same price that you pay for NFL football. It's a family type of thing. I mean, we're big enough city to have a major league soccer team.
Yeah, we definitely are. Shoot, they even talking about pro basketball teams too. The Veterans Memorial Arena is a beautiful arena that can house an NBA team. You have a lot of stuff already here. You need to continue to build on it. We do need more hotels. He said, need more hotels. Went to the Panthers game, didn't drive my car after I parked from Thursday night to Monday morning. Everything was in walking distance.
And it's true. When you over there by that stadium where the Hornets play, I mean, they got it's a lot of things over. If you get a hotel, you can walk. The entertainment is right there in front of you, in front of your hotel. Yeah.
Wow. See, well, we'll see what we it's 9:12, so we're gonna wrap it up here, but we're gonna see what Jacksonville does. I think that it's gonna get done. The renovations are gonna get done. Whatever needs to be done. And which you said this, and we can end on this. You give your thoughts on this. You said that Jacksonville is doing them a favor, if we're really being honest about it, because they asking for renovations, not a brand new stadium, which they can do.
Yeah, and right now, if you're really talking, let's be honest. If you're talking about building a fully new stadium, you cannot build a stadium in 2022, 23, or whatever. It's only going up.
Yeah, but
it used to be a time 3-4 years ago that $1 billion for a stadium was out of the question. You cannot build a stadium right now less than $1 billion. The proposed stadium in Buffalo is $1.4 billion.
Yeah, I saw it.
Not million, billion.
Mm-hmm. Well, SoFi was 1.2, wasn't it? Or something like that.
Yeah, SoFi was 4. It's like $4 billion.
Oh, 4. That's what it is. Yeah. 4. I think it was 4.2, not 1.2. Yeah. But yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think the one in Las Vegas is like 2. I think it's like 2.1 billion.
Yeah. So the longer they wait, just like The longer they wait to sign Trevor, the higher the price is going to be. The longer you wait to build a stadium, the higher the price is going to be. So, hey, you need to just bite the bullet, and you need to pay now. Because if you don't pay now, you're going to pay later.
And I'll be honest with you, that stadium should have been talked about, renovated probably about 8 to 10 years ago, to be honest. At least put a roof on it.
At least.
I try to put a roof on it. I like the one in Miami.
Yeah. At least, man. At least they should have talked about it. But we'll see where it goes from here. I know you got some draft stuff coming up. You got to write some stories. I haven't forgot my buddy. If you watching this, Jakari, I'm gonna message you. He talked about doing a 7-round Jaguars mock draft show. Me and him did a mock draft show last year. I think we did the first round and the second round. Say Jacksonville needs something to cover the 400 section from the Heat, like down in Miami. Yeah, I like what they've done in Miami. It's not a complete cover, but that 400 section where you're the highest up and that sun beaming right down on you, they got coverings up there. You get away with that. Hey, have a couple of mist fans up there that spray the mist as the fans blow. Man, you'll be fine.
They gotta get a roof, man. Cover the seats.
All
of them.
Yeah, the Jacksonville sun has beat that stadium down, and that's just the sun. Not talking about all the hurricanes that's come through here and tornadoes and stuff that's beat the stadium, but just the sun alone has taken its toll on that stadium. Yeah. Nothing is the same color it was just 5 years ago.
Yeah, which they should have. It's like your house, man. You gotta you gotta get it refurbished. Like those seats should have been out a couple of years ago, man.
At least a couple of years ago, man. At least
you want a first class team and you want a first class stadium. They're all connected.
Yeah, for sure.
They're tied into each other, man.
Yeah. All right, man. You got any final thoughts before we get up out of here?
Well, you got the draft. I mean, Thursday night, and we had a press conference last week about the from Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson, and they didn't say much. They obviously not going to say much, but they said that they're considering 4 players for that number 1 overall pick. And we know who they are. We know who the 4 is: 2 edge rushers and 2 offensive linemen. Yeah. But looking forward to that. I mean, I'm sure a lot of other fans are looking forward to see what they do. I think they need to trade. Well, I would like for them to trade down, and I like for them also. They need to trade. They need to trade some of those 6-round picks, man. They got too many 6-round picks that don't really matter. I think, try to move up, get some players. Don't forget about getting a receiver. They need another receiver other than Jay Jones and Christian Kirk.
Yeah, if they trade down, I've been seeing Jameson Williams, even coming off the ACL, is shooting up the boards right now. Yeah. He's out right outside the top 10 on some mock drafts. I don't like it. I wanted him to last until at least 33.
Me too, but they got some videos out, and he don't look bad in some of those workouts, man. Even though he hadn't worked out for no teams. But you know what, though, Brandon? I would like George Pickens. I don't know if
I would like George too. I like George.
I wouldn't have a problem with Michi. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with him either.
Just get another guy with some speed that can play on the outside, separate. Go like you can throw over the top. He can get separation. I just think they need another outside guy with speed that can get open. And if you in time of need and you want his first play of the game, 60-yard bomb, it's in his hands and he's gone with the speed. That's what wins in this league, man. If you got a guy that's capable of doing that, it makes the defense honest. You got 13 guys at the combine as a receiver ran the 40 in a sub 4.4. So if you got 12 picks, you can get a speed receiver. That's what they need.
Yeah. That's what they need. So
hopefully Trent Baalke won't mess that up. So
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I'm anxious to see what this if they get this new assistant GM that they've supposedly had an offer to, and see how that goes. The conspiracy theorists are already saying that that guy's going to be Balky's replacement once he's off the books for Khan, because Khan is not re-upping that contract after Balky's done.
Well, he used to work for Trent Baalke, so I don't know what version you're gonna get. That's different.
Yeah, but he's been in San Francisco for 15 years, so he's been doing something right, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt.
No doubt, man. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back later on this week. I know you got I know you're gonna be like busy for Thursday for the draft, and then
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay, so yeah, you'll be busy for the draft. So but we might end up we'll figure out what day to do it, and we'll go over it. And I think I'm gonna try to do this show with Jakari. We'll talk about it, a little bit of the mock draft, and see what players and who's gonna go where. But other than that, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Shout out to all my audio listeners. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. See all my social media on the bottom. Follow Mr. Reid on Twitter, Jacksonville.com, Florida Times-Picayune, man. And we will be back with more live streams. But until next time, people, we are out of here.
Peace out, folks.